let's talk about how to learn a foreign language song. Here's a little secret. It's the same way you should also learn an English language song. When you first get your music, it can be a little overwhelming. Here you have a foreign language and music that looks slightly difficult. But not to worry. There are certain steps that you need to take in order to be highly successful in your foreign language song, whether it be for a competition or a recital or some sort of performance. The first thing you need to do is separate your words and the music and work on them separately before you put them together. As you're learning the words to the foreign language song, make sure to get the IPA for that song. IPA stands for International Phonetic Alphabet. These are just letters that represent certain sounds. And when you get them and you understand what you're looking at, it can help you learn a foreign language very quickly and know exactly how to pronounce every word. After you do that, you might want to write those words on a note card so that you can practice saying them in poetic form and just practice them whenever. That way you get really used to the way they sound and the way you're supposed to pronounce those words. Also remember that your song is a story, and so as you're learning these words, try to figure out what story you're trying to tell your audience, because that's very important for your performance. You want to make sure that you get the story across to your audience. When you start working on the music in a foreign language song or any song, look for tricky rhythms first. Make sure that you have those rhythms established. Write in counts. Ask your teacher or a friend who's really good at rhythm how to count these rhythms. And that way you can start adding in the melody. Sing the melody on a neutral syllable or on a buzz as you're learning the melody with all your rhythms. Make sure that you have that connection between the rhythm and the melody. That's very important. Next, you want to look at melismatic passages. What melismatic passages are tricky? You want to make sure that you practice those melismatic passages slow. These are runs or riffs. They could be turns, that sort of thing. As you're learning the song on a neutral syllable or on a buzz, if you find that you're singing any notes flat or sharp, go ahead and fix those before you add the words. There's some really neat tuner apps that you can get that will really help you in this. And make sure to write on your music any notes that you're singing flat. If you're singing a note flat, draw an arrow up. And don't forget about dynamics. Make sure you get all your crescendos, decrescendos, any sudden dynamic changes like forte to piano or piano to forte all of a sudden. After you've done the music and the words, now you want to start looking at some details like breathing. Where should you breathe? Is it 4-measure phrases, 3-measure phrases? Before you put the words and the music together to your song, make sure to find some really good recordings, professional recordings, or just really good ones on YouTube or at some of the platforms where you can purchase music. There are some out there, and they're really good. Pay attention to these professionals on where they breathe and mark your breath marks. You also want to mark breath marks that are just in case breath marks, in case you start running out of breath and your nerves are taking over and you need extra breath. Do that. Also pay attention to some of the nuances that these professionals or really good recordings use. And those are just for research purposes. Don't ever try to imitate another singer. Your voice is never going to sound exactly like another singer, and it shouldn't. You should have a unique voice. Before you put the words and the music together, last step, find a really good recording of the accompaniment. You could have your teacher or your accompanist record the accompaniment for you. Or you can find the accompaniment online. You can find it on YouTube, or you can find it on one of the platforms where you can purchase music. They are all over the place. Some of your books that you get that have all your music in it have recordings that come on a CD. And some of them you can even download the recordings now for the accompaniment. And some of those books even have pronunciation guides as MP3s that you can use, and they're very, very helpful. You should use them. You have no excuse not to be able to practice with an accompaniment track when there's so many things available to you. Be proactive. Find the things that you need. After you get your accompaniment track, there are two things you want to do first. You want to chant the words in rhythm to your accompaniment so that you know where the words lay in the music. But don't just chant them on your speaking tone. Try to do them in your princess voice or in your Gingy voice so that you're in your singing voice. Another step that you need to take before you add the words and the music to the accompaniment, you need to sing on a neutral syllable the music. That way, if you're hung up on something on the accompaniment or something in the accompaniment surprises you, then you're prepared when you put the words in, and you can make any alterations or adjustments that you need to be successful. And finally, you get to add the words and the melody together and then add them with the accompaniment. Bonus points for high school students and essential for college age and above. Get some background information on your song. When was the song written? Who composed it? Some background information on the composer. Why did the composer write this song? Did they write this song for a specific purpose, be it an opera, musical theater, or a song cycle? Was it because the Queen wanted it, or for an oratorio or a church service? There are many different reasons. They could have written the song to impress a girl or a boy, or for their mother or father, or just because they liked the poem. There are many, many reasons out there. And composers oftentimes have a background story to go with the actual song, even if the text was not written by them, but by a different poet or a lyricist. Find out all this information, and it will really help you in telling that story to your audience. And it will make it so much more meaningful. Last but not least, you gotta memorize your song. And don't wait for the night before, because it won't happen. You need to have your song memorized at least 2 weeks before a performance. There's no getting around that. Not at all. After you have your song memorized, you need to sing that song every day. And you need to practice singing that song every day the way that you intend to perform that song. You need to perform it in front of people who you trust that also make you nervous, so that you can get used to the nerves that are going to come with performing your song. Nerves can do crazy things, and unless you know what's going to happen when you're nervous, you don't know how to fix those things before your performance or competition. The worst thing is to be in a competition or performance and get out there, start singing, and your nerves start causing your body to do weird things that you didn't even know was possible. It's best to know that information before so that you can figure out how to deal with it, and your teacher can help you deal with that. But the best thing to help with your confidence and get over the nerves is to perform that song as many times as possible. Then you have really good muscle memory to help you when the nerves start kicking in. Thank you for watching. Please click subscribe and also the bell notification so you don't miss any future videos.